Hello, my name is Courtney. Today we are going to be talking about cellular respiration and how we convert the food we eat into energy in our cells. So, in this example, we just ate a cupcake, and we're going to see how that gets turned into energy. So, we have the glucose that was in the cupcake, and as we know, the formula for that is C6H12O6, so we know that the glucose has 6 carbon in it, okay? The first step in the cellular respiration is glycolysis, and this is going to be the process to break down the glucose, the carbon in the glucose. So this process, we get 2 3-carbon molecules. So we started with our 6 carbon, and now we have 2 pyruvates, which have 3 carbons each. And during this process, we generate ATP. So we have 2 ATP now. Oops. We have 2 ATP from that process. 2 ATP for every 1 glucose, I should note that. And that all happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. The rest of the cellular respiration occurs in the mitochondria of the cell. Okay, so the pyruvates then get diffused into the mitochondria, like I said, where the rest of the cellular respiration will occur, and get converted into acetyl-CoA, or coenzyme A. And coenzyme A has 2 carbons. So we had 3 carbons with the pyruvates, and now we have 2 carbons with the acetyl-CoA. So what does that mean? That means we released 1 carbon. And that gets released in the form of CO2, which will then be exhaled. All right. The next step then, step 2, is the Krebs cycle. And this is when acetyl-CoA, the 2 carbons in acetyl-CoA get released. So we have 2 carbons, and those get released. Same process through CO2, through exhalation. But during this process, we make 2 ATP. There we go, 2 ATP are made from that Krebs cycle. So far throughout this process, high energy electrons have been given to NAD and FAD from the glucose. So then the third and final step is the electron transport chain. So I know I'm not the best drawer, but I tried to kind of make a diagram here. We have the mitochondria matrix here, and then over here is the inner membrane space. So here we have the electrons that were given from the glucose, and they are going, oops, I'm going to move over this way because I'm left-handed. They are going to move through this transport chain. And when this happens, there's proteins here in the circle. These proteins are going to pump the protons into the intermembrane space. And these protons are hydrogen ions. So then we have a buildup of hydrogen ions here, and then these electrons are going to continue down here where they will mix with more hydrogen ions as well as oxygen to create the byproduct of water. So then we have these hydrogen ions here that have been built up. They are going to move through a bigger protein here called ATP synthesis, and then get converted back into the matrix to make a total of 32 ATP. There we are. So that is the whole process of how we go from eating food, obviously it goes through digestion, but then in the cellular portion, how it gets converted into energy.